to talk about foreshortening. And with foreshortening, it's about understanding how things look in depth. With this idea in mind, if you have a cylinder, okay, and you're looking at the cylinder like so, just even looking at the top, and it's basically a little bit looking downward, you're going to have a bigger top part than you will have a bottom part. And that's if you are taking and looking at a simple cylinder and you're looking down at it like that. Now, with that in mind, ultimately, as the shape starts tipping towards you, like so, the shape is going to get a little bit bigger in the foreground, and then it's going to narrow out in the background. So it's going to look like something like that. And then as it gets even closer, this is going to become even more rounded, and it's going to zoom out in the background. And that's ultimately what foreshortening is the idea that the shape is ultimately kind of built on a cylinder and it's leaning towards you. Now, how does that relate to a character? So with a character, when I have an arm, and an arm is, simple shapes, simple form, something like this, and we're just going to kind of block out a simple arm. Now, with that idea, we've got different sizes, okay? So your hand is this big, your forearm is bigger than your elbow, which your biceps are bigger than your, the connection, and so on and so forth. So those internal shapes are helping you build your process. They build up your foreshortening. So if I have a fist, and I'm just going to block that out, if I've got a fist like so, I will only see portions of it. So I'm going to draw this as a transparency so that you can kind of see. So my wrist would be here, and then I would draw the foreshortened area of the forearm, and I'm not going to see this because it might be behind this size here. And then I might see the bicep, and it might be a little bit crooked, so I might put the bicep here, and again I only see this shape here and not this one, and then the shoulder muscle like so. So here is my fist, and now I've got basically that foreshortening motion. So you want to break down your idea into really simple basic forms of what you're going to see. Now, if we are going to be looking at something that's drastically foreshortened, and I'm just going to start a new layer here. If we're going to be using something that's drastically foreshortened, you want to think about things as layers, okay? So layers of, say I'm looking down at a person, okay? The first thing is I've got their head, and I'm just going to draw rough shapes. This is where I'm looking up. I've got some real basic here, and then I might see the neck. So the neck here is behind the chin. Then I want to block out the idea of the torso, and so that might be a simple shape here like so. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can do it with circles, or you can do it, spheres or balls, but ultimately I'm blocking out my initial shape. And then what's going on is I probably won't see much of the stomach. I might see a little bit of a portion of it, and it might be underneath the rib cage. So that's where you get that overlapping T, okay? The T helps you realize that something is overlapping. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out my initial shape here, and this is my torso, and then behind this, or in front of this, maybe I've got my arm, so I'm going to just block out, maybe this is parallel to the camera so it doesn't change that much, and then I'm going to draw another cylinder. So I'm going to draw a cylinder, I'm just going to erase this little T here, and so now that gives me the foreshortening. And then I can block out the basic hand shape like so, and I can do the same thing for the fingers and the toes. With this, I'm getting a sense of how things are kind of put together. And then I can block out my basic form here, and then even further down like so. But what you want to remember is that as things go away from the camera, they get smaller. So her foot might not be very big comparatively. I can probably put something over here, and I can maybe put this leg coming over here like so, and then coming further down like that, and then again I'm blocking out that little foot like so. I might have the hand come back here, and that might be behind the head, but again I might pull out something like this, and again thinking about little shapes in front of, or bigger shapes in front of little shapes, so it might be something along the lines of like this. And again, I might add that block of that hand in there. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to imagine how things are kind of moving back and forth. And the T is going to help you out quite a bit. So in this case, once I've got my base form, then I can start overlaying and drawing things over. And that, again, remember that T is going to help quite a bit. So here is a T where the pectoral muscle and the shoulder comes up. Here is a T where the forearm overlaps the bicep. And you can have a T here where the hand overlaps the wrist. And as I go forward, even if I go on here and draw in breasts on this character, I'm just going to do something simple. That's going to give you other opportunities to do T's. So here I can get a T from this side here, from that breast. I can get a T to overlap the rib cage. I can also kind of build this down, and I'm going to get a T where this is overlapping the pelvis, and then where the pelvis is overlapping the leg is another T. Okay, and so ultimately you're just building these little T's to give you a sense of where things are kind of building over, they're overlapping, and that's going to help you create that overlap. So if we're going to do something where a character is looking directly towards me, and I'm just going to go back and bring this up to full here. And so if I've got a character, and I'm just going to sketch this out real quick here. So if I've got this character looking up at you, and something like that, and then I'm going to just draw a little bit of a neck here. I've got the chest coming out here. I've got the arms coming down, so I'm just going to block out those arms, and like so. And then I might not see the rib cage under the chest, so I'm just going to block that out. And again, think about it as layers. So here is another layer, and here is another layer, and here is another layer. And then again, think about things from how things look from that standpoint. So you can see here, all I'm doing is I'm just blocking out these forms. I'm just going to block out that arm here, and then here I'm going to block out this arm and coming down again. So again, if I lower the opacity on this and start building out the T points here, again, I'm going to get a lot of the same things. So I'm going to get a T here, I'm going to get a coming down like this, that's going to give me a T. I'm going to give me a T over here. I'm going to, I can put in a T here where the pectoral and the breast meet. I can come down and bring it down here, and I can get a T here. I can bring in again, T here, T there, and start basically overlapping these little pieces to give you a sense of that foreshortening. And that T process really helps you build out that foreshortening. And so ultimately, as I build out, it's just a matter of, keep building up that process and thinking about how things are overlapping. So I might have, you know, the chin here with a neck muscle pop out. That gives me another sense of the T. Ultimately, those are things that you want to really think about when you're doing that foreshortening. But think of things as 3D space. Remember that things closer to you are going to be a little bit more exaggerated and bigger, and things farther away are going to be shrunk down a little bit more. And that's how you create a basic foreshortening. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And by all means, hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks much.